Welcome back to the FARA interview series where we are taking you behind the scenes at the International Ataxia Research Conference 2019. Randy and I are here today with co-chair of the conference, Dr. Dave Lynch, and on the organizing committee, the scientific steering committee for the conference, Jane Larkindale.
All right, so we know a lot. I think the community here knows a lot about symposiums, like the CHOP Symposium and things like that. How is this scientific conference different, and what is the importance of a scientific conference like this for scientists?
Well, I think there's we all work on complementary and sometimes honestly competitive fields, and there's some things that you'd like to move forward which you only get to do by sitting across the table from someone and talking about the detail, which you wouldn't give to a more general audience, or even sometimes in a publication, exactly how to get things done.
And to add to that, at a meeting like this, we're bringing together people not just from ataxia research, but from related fields. And sometimes there's a technique that's been worked out in one disease field that perhaps hasn't been worked out in our field. By hearing those people and getting a chance, as Dave says, to sit down across the table and talk to them, you can learn how to move forwards with something that may be stumping us.
Right. And they're usually very interested in learning from us as well. So it's really a collaborative sort of meeting.
Yeah, so speaking of collaboration, this is an all ataxia meeting. And so what's the value of that when we think about having, all ataxias together instead of just like SCAs over here and FA over here?
So certainly at the clinical level, ataxia is a syndrome with similar clinical manifestations. Not all the same, but many of them are the same. You learn from each other how to measure them, how to treat them at the symptomatic level, and even when you find a test which works in multiple types of ataxia, you are reassured that that's relevant to the whole syndrome, and the partners in regulatory affairs, such as the FDA, will believe you more if it works across more than one disease.
And again, even at the scientific level, a number of these diseases are repeat disorders, so there are things you can learn between related diseases. And as Dave referred to, things like biomarkers and endpoints are going to be similar where the clinical manifestations are the same, and that's really important for moving therapies forwards.
Cool. Jen told us yesterday about the attendance at this conference, the biggest scientific conference ever for the ataxias. 430 attendees, 200 plus posters, dozens if not scores of presenters and invited presenters. Who are these people? Who's coming to this conference to learn and to share and to collaborate?
We've got a great mix this time around. In the early ataxia meetings it was pretty much only academics, but now we've got academics. I think we've got 20 companies represented. We have clinicians, we have people from outside of the direct ataxia research field, and we have some patients and families as well. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's very different, the breadth of the different types of individuals, but also all different stages. There are a lot more young investigators than you have seen, as well as older investigators like myself.
Experienced investigators.
Yeah, I'm told that our youngest poster presenter is actually age 17 right now.
How do you know?
Yeah, likely a very unique and talented young lady.
Hopefully so.
But it's a really good sign of how the field's growing, that we have that many young investigators who want to be here, who are learning and getting to know the field. So I think it's a great thing that we have so many young people here.
Let me add a follow-up on that. What is the benefit to a young investigator, someone just starting out in the field, to come to a conference like this?
It's inspiring as much as anything. Just speaking back from when I was a young investigator, you went to a meeting and you realized how much you didn't know, and that the senior investigators are willing to talk to you and spend time with you, and you can go up to the Dave Lynches of the world and say, hey, my mouse experiment's not working, can you tell me why?
As a young investigator, there's a lot on your plate. It's easy to get lost in what you need to balance, not only within the scientific aspects, but the non-scientific aspects. There's a chance for more senior people to say, this is how to make it relevant soon, and that's really the way to get a scientific career started.
All right. Awesome. Let's talk about the meeting topics a little bit. Looking through the agenda, and Kyle and I have studied this agenda assiduously. We're going to talk about we got presentations on mechanism of disease, neurophysiology in the cerebellum, therapeutic approaches, genetics, cellular and animal models, natural history, biomarker endpoints, what we've learned from clinical trials. Why was the conference organized with these topics? Why are these things important to us?
So it was really deliberate to cover the whole spectrum of research. A lot of meetings you'll go to and it'll all be neurophysiology or it'll all be clinical trials. But if you integrate it all together, it really is a continuum that what you learn at the basic anatomical level is going to inform the targets you need for drug development, the biomarkers you're going to measure, and how you're going to do a good clinical trial. So getting everyone in the room at the same time is really important. Just understanding the whole spectrum of disease.
Yes, Jane's exactly right. And that's where the possibility of collaboration occurs, where people might be doing the exact same thing, but not measuring the same outcome. To see how those outcomes correspond is really what gives us power to move forward.
And what it means in terms of the patient's symptoms and disease.
Right.
You know, Jen, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Jen talked to us yesterday about pushing things into the pipeline so that we can pull things out of the pipeline.
Yeah.
Is the end goal of a conference like this to get a therapy on the table, or are there other goals?
I think if people come together to recognize a new therapy or see what a certain therapy needs to move forward, that is a very good outcome. Many of the outcomes will be far less tangible. They will be new programs being developed, not necessarily directed at therapy specifically at this moment, but setting up new areas of investigation which will eventually give rise to therapies as the current generation of therapies go through their own testing. So a lot of it is even more background than all that.
And there will be new collaborations formed which are just about understanding what causes the disease, what's happening downstream of reduced frataxin. All those things are very valid questions. They eventually relate to therapy development, often in ways I have no idea what they are now, but we will know in the future. So we're looking at drug development, but we're also looking at advancing knowledge, understanding disease. We're looking at encouraging young investigators to come in and ask the questions we haven't thought about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So overall, what are we going to accomplish in the next 3 days? Like, if there was one or two things, if this goes right, these are the things that we can point to be like, this conference was a success. What do you think those things are?
The whole community working together, new collaborations, new ideas, new research projects, and really just the whole community having more momentum to move forwards further, faster, better.
And as a more tangible way, what you'll see is new research, be it at a very basic level or translational level, or even clinical trials, which begin not tomorrow, but 6 months to 18 months from now. And some of those earlier ones you will hear about at the next meeting in 2 years, which we hope to be in Philadelphia or something like that.
Or Hawaii.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying, this time of year too sounds nice.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Lynch.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Larkindale. I think this has been a fantastic piece. I hope that you at home have been enjoying these videos. Tomorrow, we're going to be interviewing Rob Wilson and Grazia Corticelli about ferroptosis and why you should be excited if you're not already. Check us out. Check us out on the FARA YouTube channel. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. And now.